So people have asked me if I'd still continue eating vegan if there happens to be a cure for multiple sclerosis. But if I'm not a vegan anymore, what other diseases out there am I making myself more vulnerable to? Like, guys, think about it. Like, there's heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, obesity, the harmful cholesterol, and then as well as Alzheimer's. What do you guys really think causes these What do you guys really think causes these diseases? I'm just so convinced that all of those diseases that I listed, as well as multiple sclerosis, are caused by the foods that we consume. And maybe there isn't a cure like for multiple sclerosis specifically, because maybe that cure is within us. Maybe we can actually cure this by the choices that we make with food, but I mean, doctors aren't going to tell us that. So for now, almost 2 years down, a lifetime of veganism to go. Hashtag go vegan. In this video, I wanted to be talking about why I'm choosing to stay vegan, honestly, for the rest of my life, with having multiple sclerosis. For me, I just don't feel like veganism is at fault for all of the difficulties I encounter to this day, because it's MS. MS is what's screwing with me, not veganism, and I just thought this video would make it clear, so I thought I would film it. But before I get started, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. It'd be cool to hit like 1.2k in like less than a week, because I don't know, I'm just challenging myself to hit that. But and yeah, so for now, I hope you guys enjoy this video. For those of you who don't know, I've been deathly allergic to eggs since I was born, and I mean, if that wasn't a sign to go vegan at a young age, then honestly, I don't know what was. It only took me like 21 years and an MS diagnosis to go vegan, so better late than never. Eating vegan was the one thing that I felt like was always at the back of my mind, but for me personally, I just never had the guts to do it until MS hit and I was screwed. But for me, I found it so difficult prior to going vegan because I had the idea of going vegan, but I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't really know anyone who was vegan. But also, when I would bring it up to people who weren't vegan, they would just try to like talk me out of it and tell me how stupid I was because being vegan meant that I wasn't going to be eating anything. This was just difficult for me because this was a decision I had to make for myself of going vegan, because doctors weren't going to talk to you about it. I remember when I first mentioned it to my doctor, it was like he shunned me out of the idea of even going vegan with my multiple sclerosis because he felt like I was going to be doing terrible. Just for me, I just felt like going vegan was my way to make sense of everything because no one was giving me answers. I've already come to accept that early on. Like, I know there's been people who have said that veganism hasn't been helping them, which is fine. But with me, I wanted to study myself. I didn't want to study other people and how they felt. I wanted to study the way my body was reacting, and my body's doing pretty good with eating vegan, so I'm going to keep it at that. I will not blame veganism on the things that MS limits me in doing. Guys, I haven't relapsed once since going vegan. I mean, if I had to be honest, I also haven't relapsed since taking Ocrevus. I've been on Ocrevus for 3 years. I've only been vegan for about 2 almost. I feel like the main reason as to why I'm not relapsing is because I'm not choosing to eat the crap that I once was in 2018. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like that's why I'm not relapsing right now, and I don't know, maybe I will relapse in like a month or in a year from now being vegan, but I do feel like I'm doing good right now, and I don't feel like veganism is doing any harm for me. I do feel like eating vegan is also helping me just as much as Ocrevus is, because, guys, for me, even prior to going vegan, I would start to notice how I wouldn't feel my best eating meat, eating dairy, and all of the things that basically weren't vegan. I would notice my vision would shake so much. I would notice my bladder was even worse. And everything was just horrible for me. Like, my walking was terrible as well because my vision would just shake even more, right? So for what I thought was a straight line, it was not a straight line. It was just my vision shaking and acting up on me. So the first thing I did want to mention is the fact that quite a few of you guys just assume that vegans are just tiny and they're skinny because they don't eat a lot. Because why? Because they only have salads, of course. I'm going to speak for myself right now as a vegan. I've weighed, honestly, 97 pounds for like the past decade now, like give or take, right? I don't think I've ever weighed more than 100. Cutting out eggs since I was born, I feel like has made me a smaller person, if that makes any sense. Because I don't know if anyone really realizes, other than vegans maybe, but there's a lot of foods that have eggs in them, and a lot of junk foods too. And those junk foods I would never have as a kid because I couldn't. My stomach would hurt, and it wouldn't be worth it for me. Like at a young age, I knew, you know what, eggs are gonna hurt your tummy, so it's like, why are you gonna have it? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm the size I am today because I cut out eggs. I could be wrong, I don't know. Maybe I just have a fast metabolism, but yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to say is my weight is not a reflection of me eating vegan. So I feel like in 2017 I noticed this the most. I feel like I had to close my eyes every single time my vision would shake, or every single time I felt like my legs were giving up on me, and it would usually happen after consuming meat. I feel like having meat was the one thing that was really messing with me, but I just didn't realize it at the time, right? My vision is the one thing that scares the living crap out of me, especially when it shakes so much and I can't see, and especially in 2017, right? I didn't know what was going wrong with me, so when my vision would shake all of a sudden, I didn't know what was happening to me. So with my vision just acting up on me much less, I do know it's because of veganism, because with Ocrevus, I didn't notice this right after first receiving my very first infusion, or even my second infusion, right? My vision wasn't better. It was like I was still consuming meat, I was still consuming dairy, and I know my diet had a huge role to play in this, and I'm just so glad that my vision is better now. For me, like right now, my vision isn't really shaking. Or maybe it is, and maybe I've just become accustomed to it because it's been 3 years, so with things shaking, it's just become like one still image, if that makes any sense. But I don't know, I don't think it is. My vision was something that I just didn't want to be affected, but it was. But since going vegan, it's like my vision shakes so much less now, and I'm happy about that. There's 3 things I had to bring up. Is fatigue because of my MS? Is it because of Ocrevus? Or, you know what, better yet, is it because I've been eating vegan that I feel so tired? The only reason I'm laughing about this is because of my experience. So for instance, after having meat, I would literally have to sleep, like take naps. I would like, what is it called? Itis. I would literally experience itis, and I would literally need to sleep, right? Which is fine, because people probably take naps here and there during the day. Guys, my naps were 2 hours long, daily. How I even did that, I don't even know. I really don't. But yeah, my naps were that long because my meals would make me feel so full and so tired, and it was just the food that I was consuming. I just didn't realize it at the time. I was just so young. I feel like I still am, but I realize it now. But it's like, when I was 19, I didn't know I shouldn't have been eating meat because I was going to feel tired. Because if I knew that, I wouldn't have fallen asleep during the day, right? And yeah, I just feel like food definitely played a huge role in this. Because for me, as soon as I went vegan, guys, I no longer needed naps anymore that were 2 hours long. If I do nap here and there, like to this day, I mentioned before, I only take 5 or even 10-minute naps, and that's that. I don't take 2-hour naps. Something I actually find so interesting is I feel like a lot of MSers tell me how they experience fatigue and whatnot, but they have trouble falling asleep during the night, which is so interesting to me because even prior to going vegan, I had the same kind of issue. Like, I couldn't fall asleep at night. It was really hard. Like, there would be nights where I would lay in bed and I wouldn't even fall asleep. It was so frustrating for me because I just couldn't do it. And as soon as I got put on Ocrevus, I still noticed that I was still having that issue, right? Like a bit, but I did feel like it was improving a little bit. But as soon as I went vegan, I started to notice that I would have a good night's sleep during the night throughout without having any difficulties falling asleep. Because I do feel like fatigue, veganism has nothing to do with being tired. Rather, it's what you're putting into your bodies. So with the Walls Protocol, I want to be talking about this. Like, I have a book on this too. I got this book about 1.5 years ago. I wanted to read more about the Walls Protocol, not because I wanted to do it, Because from my understanding, it doesn't cater towards vegans. And I'm sorry, I choose veganism over any kind of protocol. Unless the protocol is vegan, then yeah, maybe I'll try it. But yeah, with this protocol, it was by Terry Walls. Terry was basically on a wheelchair at some point in her life, from what I remember reading. And she's no longer on a wheelchair anymore, which I think is great. She also has multiple sclerosis as well. And she created this protocol called the Walls Protocol. And with this Walls Protocol, there's like a specific diet that you just basically have to follow. And I do know that it just doesn't cater towards vegans, so I knew I didn't want to follow it, but rather I wanted to read more about it because I did know a few people who talked about the Walls Protocol who also had MS. And I was like, you know what, I want to learn more about this, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to do it. With the Walls Protocol, why I wanted to include this in this video is because there have been quite a few of you guys who've told me, I feel like more so MSers, who've told me to try the Walls Protocol because it's reversed symptoms for them, like literally reversed. And I think that's amazing. However, what's to say what works for you is what's going to work for me. You know what I mean? Veganism works for me. Is it going to work for you? Like, I'm not trying to be savage right now, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, it's like what works for other people isn't going to be what would work for me. So it's like I'm not going to do the Walls Protocol, even if this protocol does mean that it's like the cure in some way because you no longer experience symptoms anymore, right? MS symptoms. I will not do it. I'm so for being vegan. I want to be vegan for the rest of my life. I don't believe in animal cruelty. When I first started off being vegan, I wasn't thinking about animal cruelty, if I'd be honest with you. When I first started off being vegan, I was only thinking about my health. But then as time started to like pass, I started to think about all of these animals that are being killed for no reason. Maybe this is just the vegan in me talking, but it's like animals deserve to live as much as we do, but why do we have to kill them? You know what I mean? And it's like, if this is the protocol I need to follow to basically be able to run down the street, I'm not going to do that, because why do I need to put an animal's life at risk just because I want to do better? Like, I don't know, maybe it is because I'm vegan that I feel this way, but I'm just not for it. So if you guys are ever going to ask me about the Walls Protocol, I am not going to do it. I read about it and I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing how she's created a protocol, but it's just something that I'm not going to follow. Even to this day, like, there's been a few people who are just like, "Pretty, you want to try some chicken?" And it's like, dude, like, do you not understand that I'm vegan? Like, why are you being so disrespectful right now?